Welcome to another episode of the Minds Podcast. Today I will be interviewing Andrew Springer, a realtor in Des Moines, Iowa for Iowa Realty. Andrew is a local guy graduating from Valley High School, also did 2 years at DMAC and finished with a marketing degree at Iowa State University. Today we will be discussing alternatives to college and why college is not the only way to be successful. Hope you guys enjoy. Yo, welcome to episode 4 of the Minds Podcast. We have Andrew Springer with us today. Introduce yourself, Andrew.
I'm Andrew Springer. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, that's good, man. Good to have you. Today we'll be discussing college and also alternatives to college and why college is not the only way to be successful in this life we live in. But before we get into that, y'all know I start out with the icebreaker question for Andrew. What is your top 3 people dead or alive to get a cup of coffee with or tea, whatever you drink, to just learn from and also give what you got?
Well, I love coffee, so that's good.
Yes, sir.
I would say number one, Jesus, right? I mean,
facts.
Like, I think sometimes we think of Jesus as this like happy-go-lucky guy that never got crossways with anyone, and I think the reality is that he's a very radical dude, and I think especially in today's culture where we're at, to be able to just have some words of wisdom. Obviously we can get that through scripture, but just to be able to be like, man, just tell me what we need to do right now, I think would be so key. I would love, man, there's so many people.
Gotta leave somebody out.
I think Peyton Manning would be a fantastic person to sit down with and just chat, because he's a genius.
He's also a Bronco guy.
Yeah,
just want to let y'all know that.
I mean, I've been a Peyton Manning fan for a long time.
No, Peyton Manning is the truth.
He's funny.
Yeah,
he's smart.
He got that dry humor.
Yeah, he does,
yeah.
And I can relate to that. Oh my goodness,
Peyton
man,
Manning, that's a good one.
And this is going to surprise a lot of people, I think, that know me and know how I am politically, but I think it'd be cool to sit down with Barack Obama to just
Barack.
If nothing else, because we disagree on a lot of things, but to just chat and yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room, man, because Barack. You and Barack, I know, I done had a conversation with you, and I know how you get down and you can go, and Barack can go, like he can talk, and he stuck in his ways.
I mean, not even just. I think the thing, I think the reason I say that right now is because we're at an impasse, I think, in our culture where if you disagree with somebody, you have to hate them.
Yes,
and that's not right, and so I have it kind of a mission in my life right now is to get to know people that are different than me, that think differently than me, because we can find a lot of common ground. And I think you can agree that where we're at right now is people who think differently. We can't interact with them, right? Because they're just so different than us. And I had a conversation the other day with somebody who was black, actually, about Black Lives Matter, about all this stuff, and we started talking, and we agreed on like everything. And he goes, one of the things he said was, well, I think we need to have more conversations with people who are different than us. And I said, well, it's kind of crazy because I thought we would be different, but we talked about it, and come to find out, like, we agree on 90% of the things that we're talking about. And I think conversation gets there. And
I think with the culture, like you said, the culture we're in right now, people, like in general, even myself, we love to stay in this world that we created, like for ourselves, like this realm of reality we have running around ourselves, instead of getting out, having those tough conversations, and then trying to find common ground. If there isn't none, okay, let's move on. But like you said, you don't have to hate someone who disagree with you. Like, that don't mean that person's a bad person because they don't agree with maybe political or religion.
Right.
Like, I got friends who don't even believe in religion, and I got friends who are Muslim, obviously with a Christian background for me, but I can sit in the room with those people, and I value that. Like, I value that time and that place with them, because can you sit next to someone who you don't agree with, like, without feeling like, you on go or you on edge to compete with them or something like that.
Yeah, and is that a they problem or is that a you problem?
Exactly.
Exactly. When you can't sit down and find that common ground, I found that empathy, like just figuring out like why people are the way they are, why people believe the way they believe, will go a long way in kind of healing your own scars in your life and dealing with those things those prejudices and the judgment that you have on people if you understand where they come from.
Yep. I absolutely agree with that, man. And I think what you're doing, we need to do more of that. Like not only you, just everybody. Like we need to get out and learn from people who you might know more than. You can still learn from somebody who got less knowledge than you, or you consider to have less knowledge than you. All right, before we jump right into the questions, I want to just check in with Andrew, see how the coronavirus affected him and everything that he do with real estate and family, staying at home with the kids. The kids are homeschooled, correct?
We homeschool, and we've been doing that for a couple years actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So really, the virtual learning and all that stuff that people have to deal with now, that hasn't impacted us. We still doing our thing. Being a real estate agent, I have an office that I work out of at the office, but I don't have to go into work to work.
You do all your work from the house.
I can, yeah. And there was a point where we were home around each other enough, my wife and the kids, that I'm like, I'm just gonna start going to the office.
Yeah. You need that space.
And they were happy to to see me go, I think. But
get dad out the house.
Right. And but yeah, so in terms of how it's impacted us as a family, honestly, it hasn't too much. We do miss the social things that we were doing. Believe it or not, when we homeschool, we don't just sit at home. Yeah. We are involved in a lot of programs. We get such a wide mix of people and audience or groups that we're around.
Okay.
That the kids get a lot of interaction with people, and it helps them with their not just their academic growth, but their kind
just
of
getting
social
along,
growth.
just progressing as humans.
You gotta know how to interact with all sorts of different people. So that's been good. And then as far as business goes, I think people at first there was a lot of uncertainty, who was gonna have a job and all that. But Des Moines is actually a fantastic market to work in because of all of the diverse industry we have here. A lot of it you can work from home. You have insurance, finance, publishing, and then you've got all the data centers coming in too.
And
so
then
Facebook,
on top of that,
Microsoft,
and on top of all that, around Des Moines is growing, man. Yeah. Johnston, Waukee, and Ankeny is just going crazy with putting up new stuff.
I think Ankeny is one of the fastest growing cities in the country.
And Waukee, I know 2 years ago, I remember Waukee was fifth fastest, and Ankeny was third fastest in the U.S.
Yeah, Des Moines as a whole is the fastest growing city north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh yeah. So Des Moines is doing well.
We're on track for I think to hit 1 million people by 2040.
Okay.
15 years ago we were at 500,000. So
exactly.
That's kind of where we are. So Des Moines is a fast growing city. Des Moines as a whole, this is an interesting statistic, has the lowest per capita service industry workers. So when you saw all the Corona stuff come and you saw bars and restaurants being shut down, as far as employment goes, they weren't really who could buy a house really wasn't impacted. And so we saw people still had jobs, people could still afford to buy because they figured out all these employers are figuring out, we can send people home to work. And then interest rates are just stupid low. And when I say like really low, like they've never ever been this low, like in the history of 30-year mortgages. So business has been good.
That's good, man. Yeah. That's good. I know you're working with Tyler, a former guest on the show, your brother. I know you guys been crushing it with y'all media stuff, and I just want to shout y'all out on that. Keep doing y'all best.
Thank you.
You got the mind support behind
we got a pretty good guy doing photos and videos for us too.
I mean,
Marquis,
same guy. I think I know that guy. Yeah. I think I know him. All right, cool. So interviewing today about just college and like alternative ways to college. So to jump right in, did you go to college, and why did you?
Yeah, I went to Iowa State University. I actually went to DMAC right out of high school. and I literally signed up for classes the week before they started. I didn't want to go to college, quite honestly. I didn't enjoy the work. I didn't really even crave all the partying, all the social stuff. I've pretty much since my sophomore, junior year of high school, I've had a job my whole and so working was something that was never
not an option.
Yeah, work is just what I knew, and so but you go to college, as we're told growing up, you go to college to get a job.
Yeah,
because statistics show that people with college educations tend to make more money than people who don't. So that's why I went to college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I always enjoyed marketing. I enjoyed, like people would turn the sound down during commercials or turn the sound or turn the channel. But I loved that. I loved commercials. Like I'm like, no, turn it up. When the commercials came on, I was like, can we get this game over so I can see a commercial or something? And so in the back of my mind, marketing was kind of always where I thought it would go. I didn't really know what that meant though.
Yeah.
What is a marketing?
What is a marketing? Yeah. When you say you used to love commercials, me completely different for me. When commercials come on during the game, I'm doing push-ups and sit-ups. I ain't paying attention to the TV. I didn't even know what marketing was. I just knew it was a commercial, bro. But then learning that it's beautiful. Like you said, because I'm a marketer now. Like I love marketing.
Marketing is
it's everything.
So
it's honestly vast. Everything, bro. It changes. It's very complex.
Marketing can be very subtle.
It's crazy. Like with the beauty about marketing is you can do something in January and it'll work for you. Off the charts, work for you.
Yep.
And then July hit, it'll get you nothing. No retention, no anything back. So that's the beauty about marketing for me. It's always changing. What can you do different? Can you change it up and get better, or stay the same and continue to get better? So marketing is fun. We should have a conversation about marketing one day. But through college, I just want to know, you went to college, you got your degree. Did you got your associate's at DMAC, correct?
No, just general ed.
Okay, got you.
And then I went to Iowa State.
Yep.
To get a marketing degree. At that point, I knew. Again, I didn't know what it was. I thought marketing would be more of like, oh, cool, I get to write commercials or something.
Yeah.
It turns out marketing. I found this out after. It's like the most generic business degree that you can get. But I love I love the psychology behind marketing. That it's just all the subtle things that marketers do to get the attention, the colors they use or the
it's very strategic. It's very strategic.
And as I started really studying marketing, you start to notice in movies and in film, like very product placement.
Product placements
is one of them. So we like to place our products around placements wherever.
Right here, take a little sip from the Springer Bro Cup.
It's just delicious coming out of that.
There you go. But through college, just through your time in college, DMAC and Iowa State, what lessons or skills did you learn in college that helped you get to where you're at now?
Well, I would say one thing, looking back, that I've learned the hard way is that nobody is going to ever tell me, hey, you need to go to work, or you need to get this done now. In life, you have people around you that will help you, coach you, bring you along, but nobody ever is going to put you number one. Only you are. And I don't care if we're talking about parents or your coaches or teachers. You are your number one advocate.
Yep.
And so I've learned in life that I have to be my own advocate. I have to advocate for myself, because there's people that depend on me, and B, if I'm working for somebody, their number one thing, they want to take care of their employees, but their number one thing is them. It's just it's our nature. And so I have to be my own advocate.
Yep.
And I believe that there's people around me that advocate for me, but I have to be the one that wants it most.
Yep.
And then I think I learned that again the hard way. I thought, well, everybody just let me help me be successful. Like I have to do that. It's one of the things I tell my kids, and it's something that Tyler and I preach when we market or when we meet with people, is effort's the only thing in life that you can guarantee. You cannot guarantee results. You can't guarantee anything else, but your own effort's the only thing that you can guarantee. And so I've learned that again the hard way sometimes, because I would wake up in the morning, I'd play Xbox, and my roommate would be, you know, in the kitchen whistling. Can you whistle?
Yeah.
No, you can't stop.
I can't. No, nope. Not gonna try it.
His name was Dimitri. And I said, Dimitri, what are you doing, dude? He's like, I'm going to the library. It's like 6 a.m. I'm like, okay, good luck with that, you know. And then I'd go to a class, and then I'd play Xbox again, and he'd come home at 11 p.m. at night. I'm like, where you been, dude? He's like, oh, I was at the library. He'd be at the library all day long. And so, you know, he was somebody who, he got his master's degree the same, he's my age, the same time I got my bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how determined he was. But I thought,
zipping by.
Yeah, I just thought I'll just go to class. I'll get my C.
I'll get by
or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll have, as long as I have the degree, I can get a job. And so I certainly at times didn't show the effort that I need to. Mm-hmm. But I would say in college and in jobs I've had is teamwork.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned is I was really frustrated at a couple projects that I worked on where it was me and like one or two other people that did the work. And so that was something that always kind of stuck with me because it irritated me that like this kid was sharing, or there was one in particular where the dude didn't show up until the day of the presentation. And so like I didn't hold back and like peer review. I said, this dude didn't do anything. And it frustrated me because I was committed to it. And so then that challenged me when I was in other teams too to pull my weight. And so when I'm in a team situation now and I don't feel like I'm pulling my weight, you know, I figure out how I can do that. You know, my best friend, we talk often, and you know, we've talked about how I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm providing any equity to the you know, this friendship, this relationship. And he says the same thing, and I'm like, man, that must be a good friendship then. You know, like when we both feel like the other one's pulling more weight. Yeah. You know, so I would say teamwork, learning how to work in teams, and then but also to in that same sense, be my own advocate. So you're a basketball player, right? You gotten really tall, by the way.
Everybody keeps saying that, bro. I'm done growing.
But you know, like obviously you need a team around you when you're playing basketball.
For sure.
But they have to be able to rely on you, and you're the only one that can put in the effort for you. Like no one can go to the gym for you. Yep. You have to go to the gym. And so people have to rely on you. And so because that you are responsible for your own performance. And so be a good teammate, and then also work really hard to be the best you can be.
And that's crazy because the two things you picked on are the two things that was harped on in basketball all the time. Like coaches would always tell me, or tell the team, should I say, you can't coach energy and effort. Yeah. You can't coach that. Like I can do X's and O's and put you in spots, but your energy and your effort is determined by you. You got to walk in the building with that. And that's crazy. You picked it up in college. And teamwork, you can't, like, if you're not a team player, guy or gal, go play tennis or golf or something like that. And because teamwork is everything. Like you can't, like I think it's important you can't do this life alone. Like you can't get through life alone. You need help from your friends, your family, people around you, people you meet on the way. So teamwork is, and in college, I've been that bad person on the team who didn't do the work. Yeah.
Like I have too. Not in sports.
Oh man, no, in sports I was pulling my weight. But homework, man, I in college, bro. If y'all want to do it all, and just let me present, because I'm good at talking. I presented the whole thing. But man, I've been on those bad teams, and I've been the bad seed on those teams. So teamwork is extremely important, and that's a great skill. College showed me that too.
And I think part of being a good teammate is understanding your role in there. So like my wife and I are so different, and just
it's a good thing.
The passions that we have, or the things that interest us. She loves reading. I like a book. Like I it's not something that excites me ever. Yeah. And that used to be my punishment actually growing up if I got in trouble.
Read a book, Andrew.
Parents make me read a book, but our differences are what makes us a good team. You know, we're aligned in the sense that we want to have a loving home for our kids. We want our kids to be kind, to treat people with respect. Yep. And we can educate them and relate to them in different ways. Like the things my son does, like just great at me. Like he'll do things. I just want to like punch a hole in the wall. And then my wife is like really calm with them. And then like my oldest daughter will does the same thing where my wife just loses her mind. And then I'm like that's not that big of a deal, but because of that, like we can deal with the kids kind of in a different way.
Exactly.
And I've also learned that they're so different. They all look alike. I mean, they look like it could be
y'all have strong genes, bro.
But they all require different parenting, and different types of love. They feel love differently, and so kind of learning that has been a really good skill set for me in business, because it's allowed me to understand people. Going back to what we talked about at the very start. Everybody's different, and so if you learn how they communicate, learn how people feel loved, you can communicate a lot more effectively.
It's just a matter of taking that time. Like, obviously you're supposed to take that time because you're in a parenting situation right here, but like with other people, and the same thing, it's all about taking that time to get to know people and learn people. And I think we need to put a bigger value on that. Like, just in general, like with everything that's going on, especially, we need to put value on that. Moving forward, so when you went to college, I went to college as well. I'll be honest, I went to college to play basketball. I'll be completely honest. But what are some like alternatives or like different avenues outside of college that you've came across, that you actually living in, that you can reach success in this life without going to college?
Yeah, I think, again, going back to why we go to college most of the time, it's to get a job. You went to college to play basketball, but it was incentivized a little bit, right? Because some of that college can be paid for. Okay, so I'll play basketball, do what I love, and then if you get a college degree,
a good job.
Yeah, you can get a good job, right? So, I would say that some alternatives would be, I know a lot of people, one, I think it needs to be stated, I'll start here, that you don't have to go to college to be successful.
Facts.
You don't have to be a professional athlete to be successful.
Facts.
You
don't have to be an artist, a music artist.
Yeah, and
entertainment industry.
There's a million ways that you can become successful. And I was thinking about this as I was driving here, that my youngest daughter watches this TV or this show on YouTube, and they're constantly putting out content about nothing. But they get so many people watching on YouTube, so they get advertising dollars. And so they've monetized them doing nothing. It's crazy. And these kids are doing toy reviews, and they're getting millions of dollars,
eating it up,
a year. and all of but you don't have to go to school to do that stuff. It's just figuring out what you're really good at, what you're passionate about, and monetizing that. You think about all of the really cool things that we leverage now. Microsoft, obviously, everybody knows that story. He didn't graduate college, and you don't need a degree to start your own business. I think if you go to college, it should be very hyper focused on making that passion that you have. How can you monetize that? So the go-to thing for me is business. Okay, I don't know how to balance a checkbook, for just very simplistic terms. I should take some accounting classes, because that can actually really benefit me. I don't need to go to college to go to like an art history when I have no interest and desire
anything else.
In doing that. So some alternatives would be just focus on, and you can do this through college, you could do it through trade school, you could do it a million different ways. What is it you're passionate about? What is it that you want to do? And understanding that is going to propel you a lot further than going to college for 4 years to find yourself. And then you come out with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Not to mention the debt.
And when I was growing up, I always thought of construction workers as just blue collar, like those are poor guys. I don't want to do that stuff.
Good money.
And you think now somebody getting into construction full time at a high school, maybe they're making $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year, but you do that for 4 years, and compared to somebody who went to college for 4 years, so let's just do the math. Let's say they make $30,000 a year. So for 4 years, they've made $120,000 in that 4 year period. Someone going to school, taking on these loans and these debts, now they're $120,000 in the hole. After 4 years. So the person who didn't do the glamorous job is now $240,000 ahead, and they've got 4 years of experience, which is what employers want anyways.
It's leverage. You can move up. You did the legwork.
Yeah, and so I never wanted to do construction because I'm like, well, like that's not that you don't make money.
Yeah.
And like now it's like, man, I wish I knew how to do all that stuff because of what I do with real estate. Like finding these properties that could need a little love. Like it'd be so much easier.
So can you become a realtor or learn how to become a realtor straight out of high school?
Yeah. I think you need to be. I think that the requirement is you have to be 18 years old.
Okay.
But other than that, when I was taking my real estate license courses and like through my broker, Iowa Realty, I should probably disclose that real quick. I'm a licensed agent with Iowa Realty in West Des Moines, Iowa, licensed to sell real estate in the state of Iowa.
You heard it here first.
Hopefully it's not the first time because we do a lot of marketing and that's something we have to disclose.
Yeah.
But through my broker, Iowa Realty, like they do all, like they'll train you, like they'll do the classes, they're accredited and all that stuff. So no, you don't need a college degree to do that. In fact, when I did it, there was, I remember there was a girl that was 18 years old.
Exactly.
And
you was in the class with an 18-year-old.
Yep.
College degree, everything. They got the same opportunity.
Yeah.
Like,
and then, in terms of, okay, so you get your real estate license. Does that mean you're going to start making money right away? No, you got to do the work.
Got to do the legwork.
And again, it goes back to what I learned in college, but you can learn anywhere, is effort and energy are the only things that you can control. So getting your name out there, just working, being accessible, having your phone on, and it's not an 8 to 5 job. Sometimes it's a 7 a.m. to midnight job. And, we do have flexibility where I can go home in the middle of the day, but, and do stuff, but but it's just energy and effort. Energy and effort will get you anywhere you want to go in life.
Exactly. Show up, be on time, be ready to go.
Yep.
And I think, kind of wanted to run this across you. Like a couple of years ago, I was working a job where I was selling signs, for my mentor. And I told my mentor in the conversation with, a few of the guys who play basketball with us here, I was like, we was talking about like, one of them was accounting and he was tired of it, just sitting at his desk, being an accountant all day. So, and I made a statement in the group chat and I was like, I could have did what I'm doing right now straight out of high school. Like I went to college, I wasted money going to college. And he was like, oh, that's a stupid statement. And I stand by my statement. I don't think like, cause I was a salesman. I was selling signs and I had to learn the job. I had to learn the job on the job. Like I had to go to jobs with the guy who put up the signs, see the work that go in, see how much square footage and all that, everything. I had to learn that on the job. I didn't need no college textbook to do that, man. Right. And like that's the narrative that we have here in America. Like you have to go to college to be successful. And I just want to just let you know that's completely false again, but I just had to run it across to you.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I should preface all of this by saying I am not a risk taker.
Yeah.
My wife was with me when I bought the engagement ring. Like I hadn't even proposed, hadn't even talked to her dad, but I wanted to make sure right? I wanted to make sure that she wanted to marry me, right? So I was like, well, I'm buying this ring, so we better make sure.
Which one you like?
Yeah.
The guy, what you want to do?
The guy, Doug, the salesman, was like, "You want to wear that ring out of here?" I'm like, "Shut up, Doug. I haven't talked to her dad yet."
Yeah, like relax, bro.
So I'm not a risk taker in that regard. But I walked into an old job I had. I hated just everything at this point in my life. I mean, everything with my work or whatever.
You get unhappy sometimes.
And so I walk in one day because they were like, "Why are you in here today?" Because this company had started working from home already, and I was like, well, here's the thing, I'm tendering my resignation. And it was the manager that I talked to was the one that hired me, and he was older, an older guy, and he goes, "Well, why?" He goes, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, "I don't know," but because I didn't have a job lined up, but I just knew.
You needed change.
I needed change, and it was a leap of faith for me. But I told him, I said, I don't want to be 45 years old just drawing a paycheck.
Yep.
And he like, I've never seen anyone like their mood change that quickly, because he went from to. I said that, and he said, "That's what I'm doing." you know, and it was like,
that's tough.
It was like a kind of an awakening a little bit. So I think it kind of depends on what you want out of life. Are you a risk taker? Typically CPAs, accountants aren't very much, everything's black and white. And
you come to work, you know what you got numbers in front of you. And
I think there's something to be said about that financial security that comes with that. Like you know what you're going to make. You know, this is what you can plan for. You know,
opportunities of promotions, if you may or may not get it, is there. Like you're pretty much black and white, like you said.
And for some people that's freedom, right? But for me, like the more I explored when I was getting my real estate license, like, man, like I have a job that I'm not going to get fired from because people like me, and I'm an honest guy, and you know, I had job security, but I wasn't happy. And so I'm having to work all these extra jobs just to pay my mortgage, just to pay the car, you know, make the car payments, just to provide for my kids. So I'm working all these jobs and I still don't have any money. And so I went in and talked to the VP at my old job and said, hey man, I don't mean to hold anybody up here, but I need to get paid more. And I said, I think I've demonstrated my value here. I'm a data guy, so I had the data to support it. But you know, he's like, look, it's not like we have just money laying around, you know, like, I'm gonna see what I can do. He's like, what would you do if you were to leave? I said, well, I got my real estate license. I want to sell real estate. He goes, man, the ceiling's really low, or the floor's really low. And I said, man, but the ceiling's very high. And so, I had to take a risk. I had to decide, like, do I want to live in that, like, comfortable space? You know, that was nauseating because I wasn't getting any fulfillment and I wasn't advancing. Every once in a while you'd get these, you know, standard of living raises or cost of living raises. Or I could leave and I could go, or I could go,
exactly.
And I did leave and I went, because you know your first year of anything is
first year of sales. You're figuring it out.
It's hard, And
I'm in my first year of podcasting. It's really hard.
You gotta, you gotta find your way a little bit. And so in my second year, though, I made twice as much as I did at my old job. You know, and that's just energy and effort.
And I think it's all about betting on yourself. You know, and that's the hardest part, especially for some people. And I think a lot of things, like the stories you was telling and I was telling, people are gonna cast their doubts and their what's the word I'm looking for, their like beliefs upon you because they can't do it. Like, so Andrew wanted to take a risk to be a realtor. Somebody told him, yo, the ceiling is very low. I mean, the floor is very low. I
always mix that up.
The floor is very low. That's his thoughts, like, about it, like his opinions. But you got to be able to trust in yourself and bet in yourself and go prove people wrong. Or not even prove people, just prove yourself right.
Yeah, what's crazy is that you would think that when you don't have the guaranteed money or the guaranteed outcome that you play it safe. I have found it's so more freeing to take risks and chances because it's all on you and or me, and so I know what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. And so I'm not gonna mess around on the stuff I don't really know a lot about. I'm gonna heavily invest in those areas that I do know a lot about. But I would say this to anyone who's ever thinking about doing something that's out of the norm or unusual. If you have a passion for something, explore it. I would hate to live a life wondering what could have been, wondering if I could have made it, could have been successful. If I didn't take that leap. Then like that's a bigger fear for me than failing.
Yep.
So I would rather do something and fail, because then I know, than to just constantly go through life like, man, what if? Because that's paralyzing.
Yeah.
The what if.
Yeah, it's gut. It takes a lot for the gut. To just sit back and, if I'd have did this, if I'd have did that. That's something I like you, I don't want to live with. I want to, and I think we got to get more, as a culture, more comfortable with failing. But not failing and just giving up, figuring out, analyzing. Okay, that didn't work. Let me go back to the drawing board. I think when we fail, we give up. Or if I fail, like this podcast. If I fail at this podcast, what are people going to think about? Yeah, you gotta put that aside, and you gotta fail, get back up, keep going. If you love it, if you're really passionate about it, and you're really betting on yourself, like, I think that'll work for you.
Before we start here, we're talking about running, right?
And,
you know, when you run and you do any sort of training,
physical activity,
you're gonna feel pain, and you're gonna be like, man, I'm not doing this anymore. It sucks. I'm gonna stop. But it's that failing is a part of your professional growth, or just your growth as a person. Like, you got to feel that pain, you got to feel that pressure too. Otherwise, you're never gonna get better. You know, it's like going to the gym every day and lifting the same weights for years.
Stay a constant.
Yeah, and you know, you don't grow, you don't expand. You know, so failure is not a good thing. And I think you're right. I think as a society, we fear failure too much.
Yeah,
you know, failure is not a bad thing. It's
not.
It's at least achieving an outcome.
And I think the next question I want to ask you, I think, can help failing. The next question I want to ask you was, in college or not, how important do you think self-education is for the person? Self-education is not just reading a book. It could be watching videos. It could be sit down, having conversations like we're having today, or stuff like that. So how important you think that is? Because I think a lot of our failures come from just not knowing. But like, if you self-educate and you're in the field, you can see mistakes. People literally put in books. My girlfriend made me a big advocate about reading. I hate reading still, but I read just because.
Yeah. I've got books.
I got them and I read them, but like, bro, it's hard for me to read because reading, like I tell people this all the time. Where I'm from, reading wasn't cool. Like, I wasn't like it. Reading books wasn't. We was out in the field playing, man, and doing whatever, but we wasn't reading no books. So it's a struggle for me.
Yeah.
But people put their mistakes and their failures in books, and you can learn from that way. So how important do you think self-education is?
Well, I think it is. I mean, you don't grow unless you're learning and educating. So I don't enjoy reading books. I can read.
Yeah.
I do like reading, but you know, like reading stories and reading like on your
memoirs,
on your phone, or stuff like that, or watching documentaries, stuff like that.
I love docs.
I do too, man. I'm always looking for good ones.
Docs. I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
Too.
And so I think it's understanding how you learn, but I think self-education is crazy important because, again, you don't grow without it. And so it's just, how do you learn and then, you know, master that? But yeah, I mean, there's just so much information. It's crazy. It's crazy to think what it's like to not have smartphones, because that's all we've known for so long. But we have so much information at our fingertips. Like, I can literally Google, you know, like I had a lawnmower that wasn't working. I'm Googling like how to fix this Husqvarna model, and a video comes up.
Somebody
the exact same mower, you know, and so you'd be goofy not to try to self-educate
yourself.
You know, and again, it's just figuring out like what you're passionate about and learning about it. And again, you may find in that process like, man, I don't really want to. I don't want to do this, and that's fine.
Pick up the pieces and move on to the next thing that you like and give that a shot. I think that's important too. But self-education is something I feel like should be top value for. Like you said, you got to advocate for yourself. Yeah. And able to do that, like, you got to know a little bit about what's around you, what you like. Say if you're a realtor, you got to know the numbers, the dynamics of different neighborhoods. What, like, you communicating with loan people and buyers, like, so you got to know a lot. So I think you can't just pick that up by just not going home playing Xbox.
You have to constantly. You're constantly learning if you're successful, and I'm far from peaking, I believe. Yeah, you know, in my business, but
good job.
I'm far from it, but good
mindset.
But I think, you know, when the coronavirus stuff started hitting, I would talk to other agents in my office, and you know, and
what was the mood like?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty too, you know, because all of a sudden
with everybody,
all of a sudden, you know, you're like, okay, this is weird. The NCAA tournament just got canceled. Surely the Olympics aren't getting canceled. Okay, so they cancel. You know, and like you have all this stuff that's happening. So it's uncertainty, and you know, there'd be some agents in my office that would be like, you know, like, how's business? Well, you know, with this coronavirus thing, it's just hard. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we're so busy. Like, you know, and it went from having to educate people on like just the general public, like, hey, yeah, there's some uncertainty with coronavirus, but you still have jobs. Interest rates are really low, you know, and it's and what Tyler and I do, it's looking at the market and just being able to tell a story about it. And so that comes from self-education and marketing, right? I mean, you have to understand how to communicate.
And I think that self-education idea, you just like, I think that is like, that's not worth $12,000. Like $120,000 for college. Like, for you to self-educate. If you self-educate on real estate, like, I'm not sure how much the real estate courses cost, but you got that payment, a couple of books or videos or something that you purchase, that's going to save you so much money.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a realtor, by just doing that right ahead, getting a head start while you're young and fresh and your brain still developing, to get that going instead of going to college and then being in debt in 4 years.
Yeah. So, and again, I think there's two truths here. One is you don't have to go to college to know stuff, to learn stuff. So we self-educate. The other thing is college is valuable for a lot of people. You know, I don't want my doctor not having an education, right?
That's funny you say that, because like the next line is, how should you determine if you should do traditional college or self-educate and get higher education the alternative way by not going to college? So, like you said, your doctor, you have to go to college, bro.
I want them operating on a dead body before they operate on a live one. You know, and like you learn that through college and whatever you want to call it, medical school or whatever. But I think again, it comes back to, when I'd quit my job, it was AIG. I was looking for jobs and I just wasn't finding anything. And I had a mentor. He's still a mentor. He's a good friend of mine. He's a doctor. And I went to his office one day. We were eating, you know, he said, bring a lunch in, let's chat, you know. And so we just chatted for a couple hours, and, you know, I just shared my frustrations with, like, man, I'm just not seeing any jobs out there. I don't know what to do. And I don't know what I expected him to do. Like, just pull it. Well, you just want to come work here? You know, I don't know. And he goes, I think you'd be a good manager. I was like, hey, man, I've never been a manager. And he's like, I was never a doctor before I became one.
That's true.
And so for me, like, the mindset I always have is like, people who own businesses weren't business owners before they started one.
Yeah.
You know, so and I think sometimes we think of businesses as brick and mortar stores, and obviously the internet's changing how we can do that. You know, online shopping,
e-commerce,
and that kind of thing. E-commerce, yep. So I think, again, what do you want to do with your life? So, you know, we have a fund set up for our kids for college. You know, we're investing in that.
For that. Yeah.
But it's not a traditional college savings account, because I don't know if they're going to go to college.
You got a genius on your hand over there. He might go.
Well, he wants to be a movie producer.
Oh, I love it.
And so
that's new. I didn't know that one.
Oh yeah, man. He wants to be a director and a writer and all, like a movie
that's dope.
writer. And he's gotten into WWE.
Yeah, I know. I went with y'all before.
Yeah. So like he gets on the Thunderdome a lot, which is the like you see all the TVs, like he's been on there quite a bit. But he'll write whole segments out, like whole storylines out with the characters.
Oh, wow.
And some people are like, you know, that's fake, right? I'm like, oh yeah, so is every movie ever made.
Yeah, literally. Like, bro,
Iron Man is fake. There's not really a dude that flies around in a suit, right?
Marvel, bro. Marvel is crazy, but it's like
wrestling is WWE, in that professional wrestling is storytelling through physical movement.
And see, people like that, you know, that's fake. That's the people who kill dreams and stuff like that, man.
I know it's fake.
Yeah. Duh.
And I don't really think that somebody is punching somebody and the guy's just like, oh, do it again, you know.
Yeah.
But so he wants to be a movie producer, and so we've talked about college and that kind of stuff, and it's like he doesn't need to go to Iowa State, a school, you know, I love.
Trade school.
But he doesn't need to do that to learn that. In my experience, working hands-on with it's a lot better. So, you know, if at 18 years old he wants to, you know, when he's done with high school, he wants to pursue that, I would rather invest in equipment for him.
Yeah.
And give him the tools he needs to be successful
with that fun.
Yeah, and set him up that way. So, but again, I think it comes back to what is it that you want to do? Because and I would encourage anyone listening to this, anyone I ever talk to, I think would hear this as well. Like, figure out what you want to do, and there's no shame in that, because you have to monetize your work because you need to pay bills. But you don't have to be a millionaire to find success. You don't have to be a millionaire to enjoy life. You don't have to be a millionaire to get fulfillment, and find what you want to do, love what you do, and then monetize it. And
I think it's important to find out what you want to do and just do it, because some people find difficult in that because they feel like they're going to get judged. Yep. Like, yo, you're going to get judged regardless of what you do.
Yeah.
Like, that you're living in 2020. I'm sorry. People are going to have opinions and views. You got to understand, I'm doing me. This is what I got to do, and just do it. And like,
yeah,
I think judgment is huge in this culture today. Like, the feeling of being judged.
Yeah.
It's like huge on people.
And a lot of it is again, it's not necessarily a them thing. It's a you thing. Like, why do you care what that guy wants to do? So
exactly.
People coming out of college become coaches, and as you probably know, you don't get paid very much.
Oh no.
And sometimes not at all. Being a grad assistant coach or assistant coach. But guys like
your big picture,
John Calipari, Bill Self, those big time college coaches, Mike Krzyzewski.
Oh,
they didn't start making $1 million right out of the jump, right? They had to sow a lot.
Bro, Nick Nurse started at Grandview, my college. Nick Nurse started at Grandview. Now he's an NBA championship head coach of the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, one of the best in the game. So
shout out that Iowa guy, by the way.
So it takes if there's something that you want, and I'll go back to the phones. Like, we have instant information at our fingertips all the time. And so sometimes I think we become so programmed, like, if this doesn't make me rich right away, I'm going to try something else.
Yep.
It still takes time. It still takes time to be successful. But, I'm 35 years old, and, I hope I still have 50, 60 years left.
Exactly.
That I can, so I'm not even halfway through my life.
Exactly.
And I've pivoted from that salary position to, like,
entrepreneurial mindset.
Life's good right now.
Yeah.
Who knows what it's going to be like in a year from now. I'd like to think that, we're going to keep trucking along, but,
and I think something you said I wanted to elaborate on was it's going to take time for whatever you do. So I was listening to this guy's name, Chris Ducker. He was like, stop going 3 inches deep and a mile wide on your project. So you start something, you go 3 inches deep, and you start something new, you go 3 inches deep. He said, instead of that, go a mile deep, 3 inches wide.
Yeah.
So, and that's time. Like, that takes time. And I think coping with failure helps you go a mile deep instead of 3 inches deep, and then start something new. You got to build off that. And I think that foundation is built in with through time.
I think weight loss is a good way to illustrate this for people, because people get to a point where they don't fit into their clothes, right?
Yep.
And I was 284 pounds when my son was born, and double XL clothes and all that stuff, and I remember seeing it, and he had some issues coming out of when he was born.
When he was born.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story for another day. But we didn't get to hold him until he was 3 or 4 days old, and but he still had all the tubes and stuff on him, and he was in the NICU. And there's a picture of me holding him, and I don't even like looking at it because of how big I was, and how out of shape I was, and when we found out we were pregnant with our second kid, I said, I'm gonna like the picture I see when I hold my daughter, or maybe I didn't know it was a girl time, but hold my kid for the first time.
Yeah.
And so I started working out, and a lot of times people think like, well, I just need to go on a diet. No, you need to change your diet.
Yep.
And if you do it if you lose the weight fast, it comes back fast. And so it is work. You got to dig in. You got to change the way you eat. Like I've changed my diet so much in the last 10 years. Like if I eat McDonald's, I throw up. Like,
yeah, I'm not a fan of McDonald's anymore.
Like my system says, nope, that's bad stuff. And so, as you lose weight slowly, you know, if you take a week off of eating right or working out, it doesn't come back. It takes a long,
because your body get used to that.
Slow loss, you know, counteracts a fast gain. So it'll take a while for you to gain that back. Sadly, I've gained it back. I mean, I'm not 284. No, I got down to 203. So I lost 81 pounds in like a year, and it was slow. But I was running. I changed the way I ate, changed the way I approached things. And I think to your point about, you know, digging deeper, not wider, you know, we if you hone in on the craft, you know, you're rooted a lot deeper. Yeah. It's going to take a lot to upset it. You know, the more those roots kind of spring out.
And if you're doing it and you love it, it don't even feel like you're spending that time.
Right.
Like, so, I think just having a focus on going deeper instead of wider, starting new projects. That's not always the way. Fell a little bit.
Yeah, stick with it and
fail.
Every good thing in life usually takes effort and usually takes a little time. Exactly. So, yeah.
Yep. So, where you are today, realtor, father, brother, son, cousin, uncle, all the above. Do you think you could have got to this place today without going to college?
Yes and no. No, I would say yes, because there's nothing that I'm doing right now that required a college degree. I would say no, just because of my personal experience. My growth came as a result of things I did and learned in college. Do you have to go to college to experience teamwork, to experience being on your own, to experience somebody not telling you, hey, you better go to class today? I don't feel like going to school.
College definitely helped with the discipline.
And so in that sense, yes, college was helpful. But the more, it's interesting with all the COVID stuff, how, you know, schools are doing the e-learn. You know, they had to get everybody back on campus,
Zoom calls,
because they wanted to get the tuition right.
Yep.
And then, oh, never mind, you guys, we're going to do online. And I think people are starting to figure out, and this isn't a knock necessarily on professors at all who have that interest to teach and educate kids. I think people are starting to figure out universities need people more than people need universities.
For a fact.
And so, again, there's tremendous value in educating yourself. There's tremendous value in going to a school to focus on something and learn more about it. But again, you don't need to go to school to be successful. Again, if you're content just doing, you know, the 9 to 5, getting a paycheck, you know, go to school, go get your degree.
And we not saying that's a bad lifestyle.
No,
if that's the lifestyle for you, live in it, do it.
There's something. I mean, there's something admirable, right, for wanting to have a steady income and provide for your family. You know, I think if you know, as you get married, whenever that is, your in-laws want. Well, I'm talking to Marquis. When Mark, you know, I think you're, I know for me, like I wanted to make sure that my in-laws' daughter was provided for. I thought I had that perspective. Like, man, somebody's trusting me to give me their daughter. Like, I want to make sure I'm providing for them. And in a salaried position is a good way to do that. You know,
a perfect way.
And again, there is nothing wrong with that, especially if you're getting fulfillment. The way I'm wired is, man, I don't want to cap my potential because I've lived in both worlds. Yeah. And it's so much. It's not easier. It's really, really hard. But it is fulfilling. Like when everything that comes to me, or that I don't want to minimize teamwork, but it's great that when when things come to me, it's because of the work that I put in, and I'm not relying on anyone else to carry me.
Exactly.
And so hopefully people understand what I'm saying there. But
like I think what you're saying is, it's kind of like, I don't like people waiting on me or depending on me to get something done. I like having it done and not being a problem. But like you said, we do need people. We do need a team. But I want to carry my work, so I don't hold up the process or say someone to say I'm the reason we're not progressing forward or whatnot. That's kind of like what I was getting at too. Like, you got to pull your own work. And I think a problem is, like, this new generation, including myself, we think we're entitled to, okay, I did this, so I deserve that job.
Yep.
Did that, so you got to put in the legwork, man. Yep. Like the blood, the sweat, the after hours, you got to put that in. And I think that's important, especially with alternative ways to not taking a standard traditional college route. You gotta put in the legwork. You gotta work a little harder. You gotta go a little longer. Your hours may never be standard. Like, your hours may never be standard. Like, I'm working last night. I'm working on some podcast stuff last night at 11 p.m. Yeah. That's just what it is. That's the time I had to get to it today. I was busy yesterday.
I think everybody wants to see reward in their life without the work. You know, like, man, it'd be sweet to be LeBron James, right?
Oh, man.
You have all that money. Like, what does he need all that money for? Well, you know what? He worked, you know, just like we work 8 hours a day at our jobs or whatever. He's working out for 8 hours a day.
That's a machine, bro.
And because he's got people that rely on him and depend on him. He's got organizations that rely on him and depend on him. And he's the face of the league in a lot of ways.
Been the face of the league.
I mean, I know you got other guys who you like.
I like KD, but Bron is – I'd just be a hater to say
LeBron doesn't get hurt. Should we say that?
He's indestructible, bro. This dude is 35 years old and about to win a chip.
Isn't that, he's my age. Like he graduated high school.
About to win a chip.
Yeah, he graduated high school the same year as me.
The Lakers need to sign you, Andrew. Maybe you can make some corner threes.
It's like on. Do you watch The Office?
I don't. Sammy loves it.
Okay, so you won't understand a lot of references I make, but this one, Michael Scott talks about, you know, like. You know, he could have become a professional athlete. They get paid more. Yeah. You know, like completely neglecting the fact that he doesn't have an athletic bone in his body.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just come back to we all want reward,
instant gratification,
without putting in the work, and I think that's if I can summarize everything up, you can do anything. You can be successful without going to college or going to college. Yeah. It's all about how much work you're going to put into it, and effort and energy. You bring that.
Like, literally. Right. And I was excited to do this episode today with you, Andrew. For one, I want to keep people out of debt, you know, especially if you don't like college, because my little brother in that situation, he just graduated high school, and he wanted to do a trade. He wanted to go to trade school. And I'm like, bro, you're going to save yourself so much money. You're going to get a trade, and then when you get good at this trade, I'm helping you. I'm investing in you to start a business. Yeah. Like, that's the mindset I'm trying to instill in him right now. But
so people, you know, like plumbing is a good example. You know, like, well, I don't want to roll around and pee all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You only have to do that for a couple of years, and then you can start your own business.
Exactly.
And then you pay other people to
roll around and pee. But it's just about flipping the mindset, flipping the narrative. But I appreciate you for coming on the Minds today, man, and giving us your spill. Hopefully you guys love what me and Andrew unpacked. If you hate it, please let us know as well.
No, don't tell us that.
No, please tell me. Don't tell Andrew. Tell me. But thanks for having you on today, brother.
Man, I'll do anything for you. I'd even put headphones on and a nicely done hairdo.
Yeah, I see you, man. You look nice today, man. You don't look 284 pounds either.
I'm not.
No, so. Good job. But that wraps up another episode. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in. You know where to find us on YouTube and Spotify. Apple, we're still waiting on you, Apple Podcasts.
Come on, Apple.
Please. My people want to listen on Apple. But peace. Yeah.